Hey, it's me again. And I'm like very tired. I just got back in from camping last night. I was camping out in the cold and rain. Um, really, I just slept in the van and we used a tent to store things. Like we had them in totes anyways. We had them in Rubbermaid totes. Also, my hair was terrible. Like I said, it was camping in the rain. And I just got back, and there's a lot of FUD out there, and we must quell the FUD. We must quell the emotions today. So I'm making an update. I saw there was a lot of FUD. Birded up again because I'm the bird lady. Also, there's a reason I do the bird. If you're gonna present yourself as an intelligent person, I won't even say that. That sounds pretentious. I don't like to say I'm intelligent. Usually I just say I'm at like level 0. I'm level 0. I'm like as smooth brain as they come. Treat me as level 0. But if you're going to present yourself or try and pass off as somebody smart, a lot of people are going to get very defensive about it. Like they're going to fight you. They feel challenged. You're going to get defensive. That's a very normal reaction that a lot of people have. And what the bird costume does is those people who would normally get really defensive about that, they just shrug it off because I'm wearing a bird suit. So the goofiness does have a reason to it. You know, if you're gonna, a lot of people who would challenge me on the premise of acting smart are kind of put off by the bird suit, and it's a good deterrent. And they're not sure how to react to it because it's a little bit not what they're used to. So they just kind of write it off as I'm crazy and they'll go away. Great. Perfect. I know there's also people out there who like to say that I get everything from old Reddit posts. Are these my old Reddit posts? Because I'm not sure. There's a good chance that they're my old Reddit posts and then somebody reposted it from mine and now I'm just redoing my old Reddit posts. Like I said, my first dividend calculation, it was under Pidgey's long and drawn out DD. And I posted on Reddit, and it was like a 3-page thing, and Reddit wouldn't let me post the links, and I didn't realize you couldn't post direct links. Like, you had to do, like, highlight a word and say, this is going to be the link, and it was too much. So I did, like, half of it, and I just, like, took a screen grab of the other half of the DD and put it up there. But I gave the original calculations, and it talked about my methods, and then, like, that got posted around Twitter. And people are like, what do you think about this? And people are like, oh, it's a pie in the sky. Haha. But nobody, like, questioned, like, the calculations or anything. People just kind of shrugged it off as pie in the sky. And then they also admitted they knew nothing really about oil and how that goes. At any rate, so today we're going to get into a few things. There's been a lot of FUD. As we're getting closer to crunch time, there's a lot of FUD. Let's talk about my conviction, my confidence on the dividend. I think it's still going to be high. Now, let's look at the price of WTI. This past week, we had a short trading week, but look at WTI. It fell. It was holding pretty good. Like, Biden said he was going to release, like, 2 days worth of oil in the U.S. Whoop-de-doo. Oil reserves. And the price remained high. It went up. People find that laughable. And then it went down again, which sort of coincided with this new COVID variant that came from South Africa. Links below. As of this past weekend, morale in Texas remains high with oil. The general morale here is that we have vaccines, we have boosters, we don't know enough information about this variant. You know, do you want to not do enough? Do you want to over panic? Let's wait and see. There's a lot of things you can do. I'll show you these links, which again, a lot of people are citing down here. That, you know, it seems like current medication doesn't show it's not ineffective. I'll use that. According to this BBC article, current medication used to treat COVID shows that it's not effective. I'll use that double negative, which means, like, okay, it still could work. There's not enough information yet about this new COVID strain. So links below, there's a couple good resources about the COVID. Now, even though WTI took a dive and it went under 70 and it was doing pretty good, that can easily bounce back pretty quickly. Winter is coming, and let's look at natural gas. Natural gas has been going up, and it's become more volatile. Look at natural gas this past week. Once that COVID variant was really announced, natural gas prices went back up. Look at natural gas prices all for the past year to date. You notice a little bump mid-February, between February and March. That was the Great Texas Freeze. Also Oklahoma. Oklahoma got pretty bad. You know, Texas, we're on our own power grid. Most of Texas, not all of Texas, but the part of Texas and where I live, we're on our own power grid. Things aren't winterized here. They just shut it down for the winter. And as a result, when winter hits, they couldn't get a lot of the energy stations back up. They were too frozen over, and thus we had a really bad time. I was in this storm of no power. Good thing I have a couple of little generators, you know, 10,000 watt generators. And I have a bunch of old vehicles that are in different states of decay where I can put gas in the gas tanks. Because the gas pumps weren't always running. People think, oh, go generator, go get the gas. One, the roads are iced over. And where I live, there's no infrastructure for ice on the roads. You just stay at home. Where I grew up in Cleveland, like, there were snow plows everywhere. Salt covered everything. Vehicles are rust. If a vehicle was like 8 years older, people go, wow, that's an old car, because they just rust. Here it's opposite. There's like no snow plows, nothing. You just stay home. But in a case of emergency, we need to go get gas. Make sure those gas pumps are running, because sometimes those gas pumps were running, or you'd be pumping gas and it just shut down. Oh. So was power on? Were the gas pumps on? So it'd be a crapshoot. So when you go there, like, get as much gas as you can. Bring it back. Put it in the auxiliary tanks. I'd also like to cite that even when things thawed out, we had a gas shortage here, gasoline shortage. So when the roads were iced over, you couldn't get, one, pumps weren't working because the power was off. Two, when the power's on, everybody's there trying to get gas. The gas stations ran out of gas, and there was no gas. Like, the roads were frozen. You couldn't get gas trucks in, right? As a result, there's no gas, couldn't get gas trucks in. Gas stations ran out of gas, and they just had to wait. We had one gas station in the nearest town to my house, which, when the power went out because their credit card machines and stuff couldn't run, they just shut it down and went home. They're like, we're shutting it down, went home. It's a feed store / gas station, and you can get diesel ag fuel there. It's pretty cool. But they have a gas station in front of the feed store, and their power went out. You know, they just went home. But when everything came back online and trucks, you know, we had a gas shortage for like 3 days in town because gas trucks couldn't get in. They were the only station in town that had gas because they chose to shut down for the storm. They just stayed shut down. I mean, there's other gas stations in town that were open. But when everything opened back up and the other gas stations were out waiting for those trucks to come in, which were backlogged, this station had gas. So I'd like to add that in as like an anecdotal evidence. You know, storms, things shut down, nobody uses gas, but as soon as stuff comes back online, there is a high demand for gas because things freeze over. You can't get trucks moving around to deliver gas. There's a high demand. There was like a 2-day backlog of gas not in town, and you had to like check on the message Facebook, like, oh, what station is reported to have gas today? Who has gas today? That's what you had to do. Okay, just another personal evidence. You know, winter's coming. Texas is still scared. The demand for gas now with storms is high because of previous experiences. As you can see, winter is coming. Texas, we're still like a bit traumatized over last year's event. Gas prices have been going up. Now, Orogrande. Orogrande has a lot of oil. At least 2.1 billion barrels of oil with a median of 3.7 billion barrels of oil. It also has a lot of natural gas. That looks great right now. Even though oil prices are down, it has a lot of natural gas. With natural gas prices going, like, look how volatile they are. That's a little ace in the sleeve. My goal is, if my dividend calculations are true with MMTLP, is to get on just completely solar off the grid. I already, that's basically the only thing limiting me is my electricity. I'm on the grid, but I have my own water system here, which is on electricity. So if the power goes out, you have no well. I do have a pressure tank, but you have to, so for the storms, didn't you drip your faucets? Well, one, my house is designed to expel the heat, not keep it in, because I live in Texas. All the pipes kind of run under the house because it's a pier and beam house, and there's a big gap to let the air cool and go through. So there's insulation and stuff, but if it's very cold, if it gets below, I'd say, 20 degrees, because now my HVAC pipes are like inside the house, you have to drip your faucets if it gets below like 20 degrees. It was 0, and okay, so you had to run the faucets more, but then if the power goes out, you're only allowed your pressure tank, and then your pressure tank will stop running because the pressure equalizes. So after about 2 hours, even though I had a blanket and the room was heated on the generator, the pressure would equal out, and then that was that. So we found, we also had a heat lamp where the pipe from the one pressure tank comes up. So we had like 2 working faucets the whole time at the pressure tank and at the barn over there, because the pipe runs underground enough that it was okay from the cold for that time being, and that it stayed okay. We just kept it going. It didn't freeze. You have animals to water. I'm rambling, but you have animals to water. This all plays, trust me, this all plays like Texas remembers this and the struggles we had. It was a tough week. The first thing that froze, like I said, all but 2 pipes on my property were frozen, including all the hot water. Once everything thawed out and it got above 50 and everything was starting to really thaw out, took a hot shower. Oh my gosh, it felt incredible. Like the first time I was able to shower in over a week. I was like, oh, this is nice. Okay. So let's get into, now that's why my conviction remains high. Oil might be down for now. Gas prices remain up. And, the Orogrande does have a lot of gas on it. So even though oil might be down a bit, the gas looks very attractive right now, with gas being, look at it from the past year. It's very high. Even after the Texas storm, that is just a little blip. Now look at it. It's like volatile, and it went up. COVID variant, nope, going up. So according to this PowerPoint presentation by Torchlight, the Orogrande, at least per well, has the potential test rate of 1.2 MMCFPD, million cubic feet. And then you have up to the potential of 12 MMCFPD, potential of 1,500 barrels of oil a day in the wells, and 12 MMCFPD for natural gas. And let's compare that with U.S. natural gas and oils by production rate. Many wells yield between 3 and 5 million cubic feet per day, but gigantic wells could produce as much as 20 million cubic feet per day. So many wells yield between 3 and 5 million cubic feet. The Orogrande has a potential of yielding 12 million cubic feet of gas per day. So that's a lot of gas, guys. Like I said, that's a really good advantage here in this market, even though oil has taken a bit of a pullback, okay, and it's taken pullbacks a few times. If you look at the yearly chart of oil, but natural gas is going pretty strong, and Orogrande certainly has a good gas potential. Back in June, the Railroad Commission voted that natural gas companies could raise their prices. They told that 8 major natural gas companies they could raise their prices to cover for losses from the storm. Now, according to this article, it talks about it here, which was reported on KXAN, Texas. That's the ABC channel. And they said that in November because natural gas prices are going up. That the Railroad Commission said you can raise your natural gas prices. This one company says we're going to raise it $2.50 to $5 next year. Okay, $2.50 to $5. Is that monthly, like down below? Is that an annual rate? Is that a monthly rate? I'm not sure. Is that going to be a weekly rate? There's no like denomination given here. That can be concerning. I think, and they're not sure yet either. If you read this article, they weren't too sure yet. Okay, one last addendum to this. Let's say, for example, oil just stays at 65 for a while. And say oil goes down to 65 and stays out there for a while. I'm not saying this is the new dividend estimate. I'm sticking with the old one because I also have a high conviction that the deal for the land was already done. As discussed in other videos, there's a lot of evidence for it. That's my own personal opinion. I could be wrong, but my own personal opinion, I see enough evidence where the deal for the land was already acquired. But let's say that oil does go down to $65 a barrel. And for the sake of being hypothetical in the current market situation, what if it was contracted at $65 a barrel? What would your dividend price be? So we know the formula. We're going to plug these numbers into the formula. It's $65 a barrel. On the low side, 2.3 billion barrels. Torchlight, you do the math. 65 minus cost of goods sold, 25. That's $40 multiplied by 12%, multiplied by, again, 49%. That's Torchlight's cut. You get $2.35 for every barrel of oil. That's what Torchlight gets. So you multiply that number by 2.3 minus taxes, minus that 10% for underwriter management. The low side is $23 a share dividend. At $65 a barrel, at 3.7 billion barrels, Torchlight gets $2.352 a barrel, multiplied by how many? 3.7, minus taxes, minus underwriter management, divided by outstanding shares of 165 million. You're left with 37.49. So $23 to $37 at $65 a barrel. I'm not saying that it is this amount. But hypothetically, if it was 65, that would be your new dividend price. I'm still going for at least $30 a share because the price drop was really recent. And again, like I said, my personal opinion is that the land was already sold. I could be wrong. But in case of the event, this would be the new dividend price reflected on this market value. But look, 30 to 35, that's still in that range, 30 to 35. Okay, guys, I hope this gives you a little bit more confidence and assurance with fighting the FUD. I will see you soon. Goodbye.